Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
With some of the backlash that is surrounding WWE lately for the past couple of weeks, it's only apropos that we get a pay-per-view in its namesake. Hello, I am Reese from Outcasted OC, joined of course always by Courtney and G, and we have got a lovely special guest with us today. Lariat, how's it going, my guy?
I'm very good, thank you. Yeah, I'm pleased to be back, actually. Second time on the show, so thanks for having me back.
I'm pleased to have you as well. Obviously, we're missing out on Ross, so you're not going to be getting any New Japan talk, unfortunately. But in all seriousness, we hope you get well soon, Ross. He's just a little bit ill at the moment.
I mean, it is a WWE show, so any New Japan
of course he's
talk
going to
really
show up.
fit very well.
Yeah. I mean, if it was taking place in the Tokyo Dome Backlash, I'm sure he'd be here with bells on. But, you know, he's not, and it isn't. So he's not here. So, you know, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Ross, if you're watching, I'm kidding, and I love you so much. It's okay. We've got 5 matches to discuss. This does feel like a bit of a house show, in my opinion. But before we get to the card, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about some of the releases that happened in WWE this week. Some names shocking, some names you might not, you know, be shocked about, to be honest with you. All of them sad. Obviously, these are people who are losing the job. But in some ways, I mean, I said on the video, maybe this is for the best for them. They can find work in other companies where they will be used properly and utilized fairly. I mean, some of them are just being purely wasted on the roster. Does anyone have any thoughts about these?
Yes, they're sad. Like, don't get me wrong, they are sad. But I think we're in a position right now, and we can say this with full confidence, where like professional wrestling industry outside of WWE is so much more healthier, to the point where it's like, if these people do get picked up by other companies or do get interest elsewhere, it's not it's not going to hurt them. If anything, it's going to benefit them. I think Matt Cardona put out like a really good tweet, and I can't remember. It was basically him talking about how you've got like 3 different options when it comes to this. Like, you can coast off your WWE name, you can fade into obscurity, or you can go out there and make a bigger name for yourself, so much so to the point where they want you back. Like, you know, and he's a really great example of somebody who did get let go, and he's done that for himself. So if these people who have been released genuinely have that same love for wrestling that they did when they were in WWE, they'll, you know, want to continue that outside of the company. I do think some of these people could come back at some point in time. Like, I think especially the younger talent like Cora Jade, like that name really shocked me when she was released. So I thought she was a staple of NXT, but I think she almost potentially just got lost in the shuffle with the likes of Julia, Roxanne, Stephanie Vaquer, Jordan Grace, Zarya coming in. Like, they're all big names on the NXT roster. So I mean, she's only
order a little bit.
Exactly. She's only 24, so I think, you know, if she goes out and continues doing some independent wrestling, I think definitely WWE will be calling her back at some point, I think.
Lariat, dude, I saw a video a couple of days ago on it that you posted on TikTok. Have you got any more thoughts about it? Have you had time to reflect?
I knew releases were obviously going to happen. It happens every year, and it's just a case of who's going to be going this year. I think, like Court said, I think we will see a few of them back. But I did see that tweet from Matt Cardona. I also saw a part of an interview with Karrion Kross where he was like, went to the indie shows, and it was a case of I actually just enjoyed what I was doing. Like, professional wrestling is what I enjoy. I think if you enjoy doing that and you make a bigger name of yourself, and you know, you're putting eyes on the product for other independent companies, the WWE will pick you back up. Or if not, another promotion. It doesn't have to be WWE. Some of the names I was really shocked about. I'm a big Braun Strowman fan, so obviously I saw his name in the release list. I was a bit like, the fact that he was in programming to me just didn't sit right. It didn't sit right at all. So that's really like the only take I've got.
I think Braun Strowman's a perfect example of what you were saying before, Kurt. Someone who, I mean, this guy's been released before, and then they brought him back because at the end of the day, someone like a Braun Strowman is an attraction, and I think he is necessary in a company like WWE. Like, he is there to be not only a mainstay figure, what people know and are aware of, but you've also got him there to, you know, take on the next up and coming person like Jacob Fatu. I think we'll definitely see someone like Shayna Baszler back. I think she eventually. because like she's a safe worker, like, and I think also at the same time she can go out, kill it on the indies, bring her back, and maybe she'll be improved more than ever. Like kind of like Drew McIntyre, like he came back and he was better than he'd ever been.
Yeah.
Gigi Dolan was a shocker to me, because like she was being used all over TNA and NXT. Like she was literally just at stand and deliver. So that was a bit of a shocker for me.
Yeah. I think especially like Shayna really shocked me because like she was treated so well in NXT and like she was champion down there. She was an absolute killer. She came up to the main roster and like you guys know how much I love Becky, but I do think in that moment they definitely should have put Shayna over in terms of that because that really would have helped, propel her up
even
the main
Becky
roster.
wanted that right as well.
Even Becky Lynch said that in her book. She was like, I don't understand why I have to go over. But anyway, I do think, Shayna could have been somebody who could have had multiple like women's world championships on the main roster. They just never pulled the trigger on it. And like it's just so hard to see her be there every single week, like working with what she had and just not getting that push that she really deserved.
I totally agree.
And out of all of those releases, for me, I feel like she's the biggest. Like, what if what if they did this?
100%.
What if they did this kind of thing.
100%. I mean, like the years that they had with her, and they never used her. And by the way, for anyone who's saying, because I've seen a couple of comments and a couple of videos saying, "Oh, these guys are 40 years old," like they were winding down the careers anyway, or like, they didn't have much to give in the company, and it's like, dude, look at the WrestleMania that we've just had. The people who are reaching 40 years old and are over 40 that competed at WrestleMania. You got LA Knight, you got Damian Priest, you got Finn Balor, John Cena, CM Punk.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's an argument that can be taken seriously. But yeah, we wish them all the best in whatever they do in the future. But yeah, let's get to the match card. We got 5 matches to discuss. I think some of these look interesting. I think some of them are predictable. Don't get me wrong, but I think I'll enjoy the show nonetheless because I'm excited to do some of these matches. But let's get started with one that I've heard a lot of conversations about. One where a lot of people are surprised about the quality of promos that's been going on back and forth between these two. Let's talk about Pat McAfee versus Gunther. Let's go. Like Pat McAfee has surprised me in this lead up. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to go to Lariat first. Who do you think's going to win? Do you have any thoughts about this match?
So I love Pat McAfee. I'm obsessed with him. I think he's class. However, Gunther squashes him and we get Bill Goldberg come out. That's the only way this happens, and just get Pat back on commentary because Gunther can't lose this match. He cannot lose this match.
No.
I do think, we've been seeing the whole teaser with Goldberg coming back. I'm sick of seeing it. Just get him in and get him gone. Get it over and done with as soon as we can because Gunther needs to be pushed up to main event again. And I think this match is just a bit of a stepping stone to get to Goldberg.
Are you in the mindset where obviously people worried after WrestleMania how Gunther was going to be kept relevant over the next couple of months, headed into like your SummerSlams and your Survivor Series? Do you think this is a good way to keep him relevant? Like, mainly, give him like spotlight matches against like your Pat McAfee's, a suspected retirement match for Goldberg. Do you think Gunther's getting used right? Or
in my opinion, no. So to me, to have his Intercontinental reign and his World Heavyweight Championship reign, which albeit wasn't as good as his IC title run, but he's had 2 massive titles to then lose, which again I'm not too sure whether I'm not going into the whole WrestleMania match with Jey Uso. I've got my opinions on that, which I've spoken about, but to then have him lose to Pat doesn't make sense. But to then just have him against Goldberg, it's just, to me, it's just like he's someone that can be fairly safe, and it's going to be a brutal match with Goldberg if and when he comes back. So yeah, let's just get him pushing in that direction, and then we'll see what we can do with him after. I don't think that's right, if I'm honest. I just don't think it sits right with me because I think Gunther is incredible, and he deserves to be. He deserves to be at the top of the card. He is in the same echelon as the Drew McIntyres of the company, the CM Punk.
Yeah.
The Roman Reigns he is good.
He is, and I can see that side of it. I totally, I agree in part with what you're saying about the whole Pat match, and I think he does need to get up straight to the main event. I think it's a little bit packed at the moment. Obviously, you've got swings and roundabouts when it comes to that sort of stuff. Court, I'm going to go to you next. Is there anything you want to add on to that?
Oh, I'm just glad that I'm not the only person who came into this podcast with that sentiment, because I don't know, and I think I said this in because I posted a video about how I was feeling about the Backlash card earlier this week. Like, I love Gunther, and I'm a fan of Pat. I'm just like, why are we doing this? Like, why? What's the reason behind it? And like, I'm sure it's going to be a really great match, and Pat has wrestling training, and that's totally fine. But just for me, this is a match that I look at on the card, and I'm like, who is this helping?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Like, as we've just said, Gunther is definitely in the same conversations as like your CM Punks, your Seth Rollins, your Drew McIntyres, your Sheamuses, like all of that. And I'm just like, what? Why? Like, why is this happening? If anything, I would have loved to see Gunther be like, I've done everything I can on Raw, and I'm still not being taken the same way that I should be. Move over to SmackDown before the draft, and then we could have seen something else come out from Gunther from the show. Like, I don't understand what. I just don't know. I really don't know what it is. I know that probably Gunther's going to beat Pat, but that's not the point for me. The point is, like, how do you have someone who's just been world heavyweight champion basically get dropped down to having a match with a commentator? Like, when you say it that way, it kind of makes it sound like, oh, what's that all for? So I don't know. This is probably the match that on the card I'm the least excited for, because it just doesn't make sense to me as to why it's happening.
I can totally see why people are frustrated about it. Totally. It's one of those matches that, I mean, I have my thoughts on this, and I'll give them after G's had her opinion. G, is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, like, I'm really confused while this match is going on as well. Pretty much the same as you guys. Like, I love Pat McAfee. He is like my favourite commentator. Sorry, Michael Cole. But I want to pick Pat to win, but I just can't, because I just know Gunther's going to win. But I said to Ross the other day, I said, it's probably a really far-fetched thought, but I thought, what happens if they wasn't happy with the way Gunther was with his last title run? Obviously not Gunther's fault, but and this is their way of changing Gunther to something more they want, which obviously wouldn't work in our eyes because we like Gunther. But what if Pat wins and then they repackage Gunther from that? That was just a thought that I had that crossed my mind the other day.
Yeah. I see that. But here's what I think about it. And I'm looking at it from the perspective of, I don't want to see Jay versus Gunther again. I don't want to see Gunther versus Cena at the moment. Maybe ever. No. That's something at the moment that doesn't really fit in my head as something that is in the best interest of Gunther or Cena, like for their characters. Him moving over to SmackDown for me wouldn't solve anything, because what do you do? Like, if he doesn't go against Cena, you put him in the US title scene. I think he's above that. So at the moment, I think the best place for Gunther is to put him in these attraction matches, in these high-profile showcase exhibitions. We all know he's going to beat Pat McAfee. I would quite like it to be a squash match. I think that would be really interesting to see. We know that the rumors are quite strong at the moment in terms of Goldberg coming back, and a lot of people are a bit iffy on Goldberg. But one of the matches that people ask for when we think of Goldberg is him versus Gunther, because they think, oh, that's going to be a hard-hitting affair. Don't know how long that gets dragged on for. Don't know if that's a SummerSlam match. It might be, seeing as though it's a 2-night affair. You want to bring in the main attractions. You bring in a guy like Goldberg. You want to sell tickets. You bring in a guy like Goldberg. Gunther being in that spot is like being in the main event without fighting for a main event championship. You've got Monday Night Raw at the moment, and there's not many people for a Gunther to go against. I can't see him going against Seth Rollins' faction. You got CM Punk, who's busy with Seth Rollins. Roman Reigns, who is also probably going to be busy with Seth Rollins. Jey Uso, again, like I say, I don't want to see that. And there's not much for him on SmackDown at the moment just because everyone's busy. Once the draft happens, let's reassess the situation. Let's see all the different dynamics. But for now, in my opinion, I think he's in the best position, the best possible position to keep his momentum going, to keep him relevant. Because if you don't do this, then the other solution is to take him off the card and take him off the show for a couple of months, which I don't know if that's the best thing for him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded not seeing him on the Backlash card, though. It wouldn't have bothered me if he wasn't on it or not, if I'm honest. Well, I'd rather him have an actual decent match, is what I'm saying. If this is the match that we're going to have, well, obviously it is happening, Gunther versus Pat McAfee. I'd rather it not happen at all.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Like, it just doesn't need to be there. But then we say about him not being in the US title match because he's above that. So is Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
And he is more than anyone in the company, for me personally, deserves his flowers, and he's just been put into a fatal 4-way match for that. I'm not discrediting the US title, but it's just not where it sits for me.
I mean, we might as well talk about announcing as though you brought him up. Let's talk about the.
Can I just say Ross's prediction?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, go for it. Yeah. Go on. What's
Ross
Ross's
picked
prediction?
Gunther as well.
Of course.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Also, one thing before we move into the Fatal 4-Way is we already have seen, like we've all said Gunther's win. Like Sabrina Carpenter as well too has definitely pledged her allegiance to the Ring General at the Met Gala.
She likes the Ring General.
She clearly knows what happens if you go against the Ring General. So I think she definitely is a closeted WWE fan, and she probably is a big fan of Gunther. I feel like she has no idea who he is, but you've just made a certain group of the internet really happy by doing that.
I would have loved to have seen her face if she has even seen that picture, which she probably has. She's probably like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, I was just gonna say she's probably like, who the fuck is this like really big guy who's like wearing the same coat that I am?
It would be funny if she turned out to be like a huge secret wrestling fan.
That would be really cool. I mean, Vanessa Hudgens is a big fan, so I mean,
yeah, it's not out of possibility.
Not out of the ordinary, no.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's talk about the Fatal 4-Way. We got the champion Naramin Jacob Fatu defending against the former champion LA Knight, and Damian Priest, and of course Drew McIntyre, the man in question who we were just talking about. So this is probably my favorite match on the card, just because it's just going to be a load of massive people just slapping the piss out of each other. I'm just looking forward to seeing that, to be honest. G, I'm going to go to you. Who do you think is going to win this match, and any thoughts on it?
So I want to know how long they're going to keep this Damian and Drew thing going for, because I'm just bored of it now. I'm bored. Both of these men are better than what they're being put at. And LA Knight, to be honest, okay, yeah, Jacob's just won the bout. LA Knight needs to move away from that mid-card title now, and he needs to go for his world champion. Same with Damian, same with Drew. I know they can't all have it at the same time, but they're all like better than the mid-card, if that makes sense. And I'm fed up of seeing Drew and Damian. I'm fed up with Drew not getting anywhere when we all know he's better than what he's given at the moment, which also goes to show that he's an absolute workhorse because he works for whatever he is given. But I think in the end, this match is going to probably be the match of the night, and I think Jacob will retain. That's all I've got.
That's fair. Court, do you agree? Do you disagree?
I agree. I think Jacob retains. I feel like they've just put two feuds basically into one match at this point. Like, we've obviously got the stuff going on with Drew and Damian, which, like, WrestleMania should have been the conclusion of all of that, considering how that Sin City street fight went. Like, we should be done. Why are we still getting remnants of that feud bleeding into this? Like, for me, it's done. It's over. The amount of times we saw Drew and Damian wrestle each other when they were both on Raw last year, like, it's done. Can we stop with that? In terms of like LA Knight, I do think he's in that position where he's above the mid-card title, but he's not quite at that world title yet. He's in that in-between stage where he just needs to keep working away and chipping away at it. I mean, Jacob's obviously going to win. I'm a big fan of Jacob, so that's how I feel about that. But I just, I don't know why, but for some reason, like WWE will always say, oh yeah, like we only put matches and people on the card who like, deserve to be on it. But yet they're also the biggest proponents for multi-men matches. And that basically screams to me, we're going to put as many people on the card as possible just because we want to. But you're also then saying that you don't like doing that. And that might not be the case here, but it just kind of feels that way when we have multi-men matches and like multiple matches across. It just annoys me so much. It's like we don't need to see this really, but I mean Jacob can go and smash it.
It's just the unfortunate place where Backlash is centered. I mean, we've seen this over the years where two storylines kind of bleed into each other for Backlash. I think also with a combination of people are kind of just stuck in the air at the moment before the draft. In my opinion, Damien or Drew need to go to Raw. If I'm honest, I say we throw LA Knight at Cena for a feud this year.
I'm down.
We might as well. They've got that history. They tagged together a couple of years ago, so I'd be down for seeing that. Larry, have you got any thoughts on this match?
It's only going one way. I think it's Jacob Fatu retains. He's too good.
I mean.
I think we get the distraction with Drew and Damien, and I think we see Solo try and interfere here and possibly try and cost Jacob the match, but I think eventually Jacob does win. We see the breakdown of obviously the whole bloodline and stuff like that, but this was just the first one that I went Jacob Fatu tick next.
I'm in the same boat as that, to be honest, on multiple different levels. I do think we're going to be seeing a Solo interference or like something that makes him look like he's trying to help but actually is hindering Jacob. I just don't see any of these guys hanging around the United States title picture for a bit. You've got a whole mid card there with these guys not in it that can be challenging for this US title. You've got a Carmelo Hayes there. You've even got the Miz there. You've got a couple of people like Santos Escobar who could be challenging for the title. You've got Ray Phoenix, who probably should be in that picture. So to have Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre again, I think it's just the residual effects of WrestleMania and the pre card before you get the actual main rosters from the draft. So it's just an unfortunate situation. Like I say, it makes for a good house show in Backlash. But I'm down to see this Fatal 4-Way. Like we've all pretty much said, it's probably going to be match of the night. I'm looking forward to Jacob Fatu retaining because that's what I also think is going to happen.
Ross also put Jacob to retain. Do we have any date or date towards when the draft is going to be?
Let me have a look. Let's see if I can find something.
I imagine. I mean, I don't know the actual date, but I imagine it's got to be within the next 2 or 3 weeks. Surely.
Let me have a squiz.
Because you got NXT Battleground in a couple of weeks, and surely it should be around there. That's what I would expect.
Because I'm sure last year it was literally right after Mania, wasn't it?
It feels like it was, but maybe
within the first couple of weeks after. But I've just found an article from Wrestle Talk, and then there's just a quote here that says, "The calendar gets a little tricky here. You're going into Backlash next week, being May 10th. Then you're going into Saturday night's main event 2 weeks after that. Then you're getting Money in the Bank 2 weeks after that. Then 3 weeks after the Saturday show, and then a week after that you get the Rumored Evolution, and then you calm down a little bit before SummerSlam. So I think if they're not going to do an official draft, I would really just love to see, if they don't think they've got the time to make it happen, I would just love to see some Twitter announcements being like, SmackDown has acquired this, Raw has acquired this.
Or it'd be nice to just
do a physical draft for us to see all the changes. I just would like to, I think the roster is a little stale at the moment.
It could do a YouTube live show. I wouldn't mind that.
Or you know, like when we're on like Raw or SmackDown and you see like Nick or Adam Pearce and then a random really cool wrestler just pops up next to them that's come from a different, and we're like, oh, they're on this brand now.
It could even be pre-filmed. Like they literally could just have like segments where you've got like Nick Aldis and a bunch of people in a room with a whiteboard talking back and forth about what they're going to do and blah blah blah. Yeah. And they're like, you know how is it like the NFL that does their picks or the NBA? I don't know, something. Someone does picks like that. They just do that. They don't have to do like a physical. Bring in WWE legends to read out 4 names off a card.
Yeah.
Because they have kind of, with the schedule and how crazy it is right now, considering that WrestleMania was so, I reckon the reason it wouldn't be this crazy is if WrestleMania wasn't so late into April and it was the first week of April, we would have a bit more time. But I think because of how busy the schedule's looking, if they are going to do a draft, they need to figure out how to do it. They need to figure out the best way to do it, to not drag it on, make some changes, and just go.
No worries. Yeah, well, I mean, I think, personally, I think it should be before Money in the Bank. I think that'd be the perfect place to do it because you don't know where like the Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank will end up, or like, do you know? I think that'd be cool.
It's got to be.
Yes, it's got to be somewhat. It can't be that far away. It surely can't, just because I don't want to wait that long for like a stagnant cards, people not knowing what to do for like 2 or 3 months. That's not something that interests me at all.
Yeah, just a bit stale on the main roster at the moment. We need some switching up, need some new names and some new faces, and I think that will really help.
Oh yeah, okay. But speaking of new faces, our new Intercontinental Champion is going to be defending his belt for the very first time on a pay-per-view after WrestleMania. We have got Dominic Mysterio against Penta. Who have we got and why? I'm going to go to you, Court.
Hang on, Courtney. I think you got it wrong there, Reece. You mean the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time.
He's a 20-year vet. How can you forget that?
Yeah, some might say the greatest Mysterio. So, you know, like, there's a lot of skate there for that. You know,
Liv Morgan said that. Chris Van Vliet did not say that, though. So,
well,
I saw your video.
Who do I trust? Who do I trust more, Liv Morgan or Chris Van Vliet? I don't know. Like, that's another conversation for another day.
Yes. Anyway,
who have you got, Court?
It would be too early for them to take the title off Dom. I think Dom has the IC title, obviously, because, you know, he deserves it. But also, I do think this is going to play massively into the Judgment Day demise. We're seeing the downfall of Finn Balor, the crash out moment, some would say. And I think that this title is going to be very integral to that story being told. However, I would be remiss if I said that I wouldn't like to see Penta as a champion. I think he would be really good. But I do think we are going to see Dom retained by some nefarious means, Judgment Day involvement somehow. But yeah, I feel like they may be wanting to hold off on this Judgment Day storyline. You know how we had like that massive storyline change at SummerSlam last year? Some reason I get a feeling we're going to have the same thing at this year's SummerSlam. So it's like, look at what a year's done to the faction, blah, blah, blah. I'm not really too sure, but I have Dom to retain on this one. I think it's too early for him to drop the title, considering that like he's now getting cheered and we haven't even seen him cut a promo. He hasn't even been able to physically cut a promo since he's been champion. And I think I said to you guys, I'd really love to see if the crowd's going to let him speak or if they're still going to boo him, or like how that dynamic shift is going to be when it comes to him speaking on the mic. So,
but like this time, instead of booing so much, they cheer so much he can't talk.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Lariat, what do you think?
Nothing much more than what Court said, to be honest. I can't really say much more. I think it's too early to take it off him. I think WWE kind of listen to the fans and listen to the voices and go, do you know what? Yeah, it would be huge if they took it off him, because I think it would push him even more into a face role. But I think they just keep it on him for now. I don't see Penta winning this. And if I'm honest, this is such an unpopular take. I can't stand Penta.
Really?
It's a good thing Ross isn't here to hear that.
I can't. I'm sick of that all the time. It's all the time, and I'm like,
we just see Lariat all of a sudden get.
Losing my head.
we see Lariat's like camera all of a sudden go off, like somehow Ross is in your house.
I can do that. Hang on.
You get like the Wyatt 6 crackling on the screen.
No, I can't do that.
No, just
I'm going to ask you a
like
question. I'm going to ask you a question as a guest, and this actually is more interesting now that you've made your opinions known on Penta. My question was going to be to you: at what point do we pull the trigger on Penta? Because a lot of people are calling for him to win a championship. I think personally it's a bit too early for him to win a championship. I think him doing what he's doing now is absolutely fine. So that's my question to you. At what point do we decide to put a championship on Penta?
we don't have to.
But Sierra.
But if we did, when do you think? How long do you think?
He should have been in that US title match then and took Drew out instead, or I don't know. Like he just, for me, it's like the IC title, World Heavyweight Championship, WWE Championship, and the fact that he's in that like top tier of wrestling in the WWE just doesn't sit right with me. And I don't know if that's purely because I think he's a better tag team wrestler. I actually don't mind him as a tag team. I really enjoyed the two of them together. The fact that he's like just joined WWE and he's been pushed up so high up already, I'm just a bit like, that just doesn't sit right with me when there's other talent that definitely do deserve that spot. Finn Balor.
Let me throw that back at you then for a second. Like, so do you not think this is WWE kind of making up for all the times they've fumbled on luchadors when they've come into the company, i.e. Dragon Lee? Like, he started off very hot. They kind of decided to forget about him, and now look where he is now on the card. Do you not think that that's kind of WWE going, okay, now we're going to try with a luchador for once?
Yeah, possibly. I don't mind it. I don't know if it's just because it's so early on. Like, it was the whole thing. I'm trying to figure out the match. I think he had a face-to-face with Bron, and I'm a bit like, to me, Bron is the future of the company, and you've just come in within like a month and you're just challenging him to a title match. And I'm a bit like, how can you just put yourself in a title match? What happened to number one contenders and working your way up? Like, you can't just go up and go, I think I'm going to have a match with you this week.
Do you think it's just because they're doing a lot within his career super early on that you haven't actually seen him put that work in to be deserving of it? Is that maybe like what you're coming towards? Yeah,
that's for me. That's where I sit on it. I don't dislike him. I just don't like how WWE. It's probably more on the. I'm on the fence with WWE, thinking you've pushed him up so high up. Like, let him just have like 6 months where we're seeing continuously match after match that he's putting on bangers. I think he's a fantastic wrestler. I just don't think he's a champion yet.
I tend to see the side of the argument that you're saying. Me personally, I think this is WWE trying to capitalize on the big name that we've got in Penta. I mean, obviously because he came from WWE, but AEW. But before then, obviously he was quite big in Lucha Underground as Pentagon and in TNA as Pentagon. I think this is them trying to sort of that carry on his momentum, but I can see why people get frustrated by him, because obviously not everybody watches AEW or TNA.
No.
So
you also have to remember the acquisition with AAA as well too. Like, they probably will be having some involvement in terms of like being like, hey, we want to see like Pentagon or Pentagon.
That's true, and I can totally expect. I can totally see him like probably treating Vikingo the same way as well.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, Larry. There are wrestlers where they come into the company and either I'm not too familiar with them or I do know them, but WWE does really want to push them super early on in their stint within the company, that I sit back and actually go like, I'm kind of really not okay with this person specifically being pushed. Like, I'm not a fan of them, but it's just like, why are you pushing this person so much down my throat so early on? And maybe that's what you're coming to find with Penta, is that like WWE knows they've got a really good person here, but they're just almost too afraid to kind of let him marinate on the main roster for a little bit, if that makes sense. Like, you want him to establish himself before he makes his title intentions known, and maybe they're just pushing that a little bit too soon. Or maybe because he is older, they want to try and get the most out of him within the time he still has.
I think
him
there's
being
an
like
extra layer with luchadors that we have to consider, and it's like I don't know how to say this without lumping them all together. But sometimes your average fan finds it very hard to distinguish between like, oh, so what's so good about Penta? What separates him from your Dragon Lees and your Fenix and your Rey Mysterios? Just because of the match and the get up and stuff like that. So is this WWE trying to give him more time, like give him more TV time to express his personality? Like in my opinion, I think Penta is very good at, and this is me trying to look at it from like an average wrestling fan, someone who doesn't watch all the all the episodes every single week or doesn't watch all the indie shows, etc. Penta to me is very good at expressing his personality behind the mask, even though he keeps it on. Like he's very vocal with all the with the Cero Miedo, but he's great on promos and stuff like that. Like he separates himself from the pack in that way. And maybe this is WWE try to like give him a bit of breathing space to do that. Like that's just me like throwing like an idea out there, maybe.
I mean, we haven't said it, but maybe they do genuinely see him as the next Rey Mysterio. Like I know that a lot of luchadors have come in and fans have coined them the next Rey Mysterio. Michael Cole has said it on commentary. But maybe this is the company's way of actually showing you guys this is who we think is the next Rey Mysterio. Maybe that's what they're trying to do. And trying to get him the accomplishments early on and, trying to get him to have as many accolades within this company as they can, considering, he is on the older side and he's been everywhere else but WWE. Maybe they want to give him as many achievements as they can within the time he's got with them. I don't know. Maybe that's
I can see that. I mean, for a while now, I mean, even going back to when he was TNA champion, I've thought that the Pentagon, like that's how I first saw him, was one of the, if not the best luchador in the world. I mean, you got Bandidos, Vikingo, obviously Rey Mysterio, Fenix, but I've always loved Penta, and I am happy that he's getting his time to shine in WWE. But also, from Lariat's point of view, I can see why it would grind people's gears a little bit. Like you say, like when he faced off against Braun, I was like, whoa, this is cool. But from the other side, I can kind of see like, what, this is a bit soon, is it not? Like, he's
best cards too early on in the game, like, but maybe they have something better planned that they're like, we can peak this a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. G and Ross, like what are like your thoughts? Obviously, like Ross has got his pick, but Gio, what you've got to say?
I think it's a bit late for me to say that I've picked Penta now, isn't it?
No, you can still say that.
I'm joking. I haven't. Ross, however, has picked Penta.
Of course he has.
Yeah.
He's got no fear when it comes to picking for Penta. He's got set on the
I have put Dom to win and Dom to retain. I don't want Dom to lose because I actually think he is the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. I'm just saying. We love Dominic Mysterio and I'd like to see him have a good run with the bout. However, I would not put it past WWE to take the bout off him first pay-per-view events just to cause that heat around him. I could see them doing that as well, but I'm going to stick with Dom to win.
Yeah.
Could you see Finn costing him, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe,
yeah.
I could see that as well.
He's always seems to be one step ahead. So I think Finn can come in, but I think Dom is always thinking, right, I've got something up my sleeve here. So if he wants to come in, then fine, let him try it. But he's always that one step ahead, and I think that's why I think we see the match end.
Nice.
I see that.
That's fair. But yeah, I am excited for that match. I'm not going to lie. Like, just to see what's going to happen. A match that I'm not excited for. I'm not going to lie. Becky versus Lyra.
I knew he was
for the women. For the
I've
women's
got some
IC
real
title.
hot thoughts about this. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Like,
All right. Well,
No.
I do you know what, Court? I'll go to you as though this is your girl. What are your hot thoughts on this?
I feel like it's been the trigger on this has been pulled too soon.
Yeah.
I think it's been pulled way too soon. Like, I was there when they won the titles, and this is not me trying to gloat. I'm just trying to add context. I was there when they won the titles. 24 hours later, they lose them. I'm like, okay, that's a choice. For then Becky to turn on Lyra, and like, I'm totally here for her heel persona. People have been asking me. I'm totally here for it. Like, heel or face, tweener, I don't care what she is. I love her regardless. I think she does no wrong. I feel like she does everything she can within storyline. However, I would have just loved to see the tag titles be held by them for a little bit longer. Have moments where they almost lose the titles down to Lyra's lack of confidence in terms of working with Becky and having that form of, you're my mentor, I'm the mentee, like I'm really excited to be working with you. I'm so sorry we almost lost the titles because of that. And have that bubbling under the surface for a little bit longer, to the point where when they lose the titles, you can see the frustration from Becky. You can see she's trying to be helping Lyra all this time, and she's been with Lyra and by her side this entire time. But down to Lyra's lack of confidence, they've officially lost the titles. Then I would have had her do it. And you could have had this happen around the time of SummerSlam, because then that would have been a bigger showcase match.
Mm-hmm.
However, I can still see the other side of the coin of, Lyra's been Intercontinental holder for a couple of months at this point. People think it's the second-rate mid-card women's title belt because the US title feels a lot more stronger than the Intercontinental belt. That's just a fact. But maybe they've put Becky into this to try and elevate Lyra and elevate the title. I don't know. But for me personally, I would have just loved to see a little bit more storyline behind it, a little bit more tension bubbling under the surface, so that when that big eruption of Becky turning on Lyra happens, it gets more of a crowd reaction. Not to say at the Raw after WrestleMania it didn't, because it did, but I'm somebody who I would love to see that tension forming and being like, oh my gosh, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? And then when it does, it's like, holy shit. The promos have been better in the last couple of weeks. I definitely think they've put more emphasis on it. I do agree with you, Reese, in saying, like, I'm not super excited for this match. I don't know why. I should be more excited because our girl's in it, and I just, I don't know. In terms of the pick, I would like to see Lyra retain, but I feel like Becky is going to beat her. And that's going to add legitimacy to the title, I think. But
your pick is Becky.
So my pick is Becky.
Oh.
And I'm so happy to be wrong about that as well. But I just, I don't know. I think maybe they've got something else planned with Bayley when she comes back, but
I can see maybe Bayley attacking during or after this match.
I do like how, in terms of storyline though, like, you know how with the whole who attacked Jade story and we had like the murder mystery for months back and forth. I do love how Becky's just come out of the gate and was like, it was me. I just threw my headphone cord. It was me. Like, we don't need to speculate. It just goes to show that she clearly had intentions with what she was doing. But yeah. I think this match, looking at it from an outsider's perspective before it happens, we're all kind of going to be like, don't really know how we feel, but it might actually be a good match in the ring, and it might actually surprise us.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I have no doubt that in ring this is going to be great. We've seen this before for the NXT title. Like it was great. I just don't really care.
Yeah.
I mean, I in the nicest way possible. I think the promos have been good between, especially on Raw this week. Shout out to Lyra. She finally, grew some friggin' teeth, and actually took a chunk out of Becky.
She exposed her wings. She let her wings fly.
Yeah. So fair play. But yeah, in terms of build up, I would have let this go on for a little bit longer before we had a pay-per-view. But it is what it is, I suppose.
Is that the reasons that you've got reservations towards it, or is there something else in the feud that's just kind of not clicking for you?
I don't know. I like a good build. I like to wait for something. I am firmly in the Triple H mindset of everything's better when you wait for it. I think this is really a match where there is a lot of history behind these two. If you are a fan of NXT, I mean, I reviewed it for 2 years for the channel. You are invested in Becky versus Lyra, and the very first time that these guys are meeting on the main roster, you're doing it on a B show for a title that you're trying to make feel important with only 2 weeks build. I just think that's a mistake. I think that's a fumble in my eyes. I think 100% it should be number 1 on a big 4, and number 2 at least with a 6-week build. That's just me though. I'm gonna go. I mean, since you threw a question at me, I'm gonna go with Lyra to retain. I don't know if I'm gonna regret that decision. I would quite like to see Lyra retain. I also think it's probably going to be because Bayley maybe comes out and costs Becky and then we're going to move on to Becky versus Bailey, or Bailey versus Lyra, or Bailey versus Lyra and Bailey. Like, well, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
but G, what do you think of this?
I thought the end game for Lyra at the moment was meant to be Lyra versus Bailey, but I really don't know where they went wrong with that, because my whole thoughts of them putting Lyra and Bailey as a tag team, I was really confused because I thought the goal was going to be Lyra versus Bailey. And then I thought, well, if they're putting them in a tag team in this, they went to that gauntlet match, didn't they, to go against Liv and Raquel. And I was like, well, maybe if they put them in this gauntlet match, they win, or if they don't win, then maybe Bailey will turn on Lyra, and then they won. And I was like, oh, okay. So maybe now they'll lose at WrestleMania, and then we'll have Bailey versus Lyra, and then Bailey got injured. And I was like, where the hell is this storyline going? I just don't get it, because I thought the goal was Bailey versus Lyra.
Yeah.
And then we have Becky return. Obviously, don't get me wrong, I'm happy she's my queen. I love her. She's my queen. But I just didn't understand the whole premise of everything that went on. I have put Lyra to retain because I would love to see Lyra retain. Becky as a heel just didn't work for me last time, and I hope to God it's better this time if that is the way they're going to do it. But yeah, I don't really know what's going on.
There is a possibility here that I've not seen talked about. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I've ever seen people talk about it. There is a chance that Bailey comes back as a heel and sides with Becky. It was like a bit of a ruse, or Bailey is kind of brought round to seeing Becky's side of like thinking, and like we get a bit of a 2-man power trip, kind of like how we got Sasha and Bailey back in the day.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because Bailey has also got a bit of a gripe with Lyra. Like, I got attacked and you just replaced me like that, just like nothing in 24 hours. Like, I mean, obviously logic is there as a babyface. Like, I didn't have a choice; I got made to. But as a heel, you can be like, no, screw you. Yeah. Like what? You didn't even care.
The other thing that confuses me with the whole situation is that, okay, Becky and Lyra won the bouts, lost them the next night, but Liv is going away. So what's going to happen there? Why couldn't they just leave them on them and give them a build, like you said? Like,
that's exactly my thoughts too.
Yeah, Liv is going. Why put the belts back on them? Liv is literally leaving.
I don't know. Lariat, have you got
any thoughts on this? Before Liv leaves, or are they going to remain unused for months while she's gone?
They'll just retire them. Just retire them at this point.
Lariat, have you got any thoughts on this?
I'm torn between this match because I do quite like both of them. I'm more of a Becky fan, which is why I think Becky wins by the aid of Bailey. I think, like you said, I think we do see a Bailey heel run. So I saw in an interview that she had, I don't know who she was speaking to, but she said she wants to run everything. She wants to have a love triangle situation. She wants to be a proper heel. She wants to be a proper face of the company. And I think this would be a perfect time for her to have that heel run now. We don't think it's coming. Then all of a sudden, we hear her music drop and she comes out and helps Becky. I just think it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
You just hear Bailey come out of nowhere and she goes, ha ha, ding
dong. No.
Yeah, I don't have much thoughts on it. I'm not. There's other women's matches that I'd have preferred to probably have seen. I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to kind of put some names into a hat, sort of thing. But I think I'm siding with Court here. I think that we just needed a bit more of a build-up. I'm so into like long-term storytelling, and to just do it 2 weeks later, it's a bit like what are we rushing here for?
I honestly don't mind waiting months for a story to be told. I really don't. It's the best way to do it.
I think, like, since Triple H has been in charge for a couple of years now, like, initially when he came in, I was always somebody who was like, no, I want to see the match happen right now. But with the documented examples that we've seen of him giving something more of a storyline and then the match happening, and then it actually feels so much greater because of that extra storyline put into it and the extra attention to detail, the build up put into it, the promos, the backstage segments, the beatdowns. Like now for me, that is my baseline expectation for a feud.
Yeah.
And when something doesn't get to that, I'm like, why did we pull the pin on this too early? Like, what could we have done going back to give this more legs? Because as we said just before, the WWE calendar is pretty stacked for the next couple of months. I could have seen this happening at Evolution. Like, we did not need to do this right now.
Yeah.
We did not need to do this right now.
Look, and we know they can do the long-term booking with the stories and the promos. Look at that Bloodline feud we had for however many years it happened. And they kept us intrigued the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Goddamn right they did.
There was another women's match that I was seeing over the last couple of weeks that I did think was actually going to be on this card, but it's actually going to be on Monday Night Raw next week. It's the tag match between Io and Rhea taking on Julia and Roxanne.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'm surprised that didn't get added.
I don't know why they didn't choose to, but that's had more storyline put into it, and more build up put into that, and it's just going to be a Monday Night Raw match.
Yeah, that is a bit of a confusing one for me. Again, you've got Saturday night's main event in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you leave it for that? That's a classic 80s style main event. Like, you know, you got your champion there in a tag match. Like the two number one contenders and up and coming. You know what I mean? That's a perfect chance for a Saturday night's main event. Stream main event thing. I don't even know what you call it.
Am I happy the women are on the card? Yes. Do I wish there was more storyline put into it and maybe it'd be done at a different time of the year? Yeah, I kind of do. This could have, if you had this up, as I say, this could have easily been a top match on the Evolution card, or it could have been like a staple match that you could have had on the first 2 nights SummerSlam.
Yeah.
If you wanted to have a women's match on there, why don't you just have the Chelsea and Zelina rematch?
So, yeah, the rematch. But
you know, that could have been the women's Phil match. You know,
yeah,
like because at the minute it doesn't feel like a filler, but it feels a bit like a let's put your obligatory women's match on there just so we say we put one on there. Like I say, I wanted more build to this, so. But it is what it is.
Or they could have done the rematch between Nia and Tiffany.
Yeah,
that's true.
I think that I was thinking of is give them a rematch. Although I'm not a big Nia fan, but yeah, I'd rather have seen that and just had a longer build up with Laura and Becky. 100%, it needed it.
You could have, you literally had 3 different people try and challenge Tiffany last week. You had Nia, you had Jade, you had Naomi. You could have done any of that.
Naomi versus Jade Part 2 could have been on there.
Yeah.
You know?
That's initially what we thought was going to happen, but that's fine.
So did I. Yeah, we talked about that at WrestleMania, didn't we? I put it on so.
We did.
I don't know. I just think, I wouldn't say it's the best out of a bad situation we're making this, but I am looking forward to the match. These two have undoubted chemistry because we've seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just wanted to see a bit more. Speaking of seeing a bit more, this is one of the last times I'm going to be seeing Mr. Cena. I believe we're down to 25 appearances, something like that.
Is that it?
So I believe so. 24 appearances. It's getting lower. It's getting lower. We have got the WWE Undisputed Championship on the line. Mr. Randall Keith versus the champion John Cena. Lariat, I'm going to go to you first. Who have you got and why?
So I think Cena wins to start off with. I think Cena does win this match. I think Orton will get his time. The other thing that I have with this match is this maybe should have been Cena's last match and had Randy potentially beat him for it. However, it's not. So, in my opinion, Cena wins. I think for me, Cena's not got what it takes to be a world champion in my eyes. There's he's not in the same. I know he's classed as one of the greatest of all time, but athletically, he hasn't got what it takes to be at that top tier anymore. So for me, this is just, I think it is just a pure nostalgia match. And I think it's going to be incredible to see them both in the ring for that one last time. I think it's got the potential to be a very good match with the storytelling throughout the whole match. but I want to see brutality in this in some form. I want to see a punt kick. I want to see like tables being smashed. I want to see everything, and it just to be an all-out classic match. But yeah, Cena wins this. He's not losing.
There is a very scary possibility, and obviously you've been watching wrestling a long time, Larry. You'll remember this. There is a scary possibility that Cena just does a 2009 Randy Orton and slaps the referee, tries to get himself disqualified.
I knew you was going to say that.
There is every chance that could happen.
Well, I mean, if he says he's going to ruin wrestling, if he wants to make sure he retains the title, if slapping a referee and having him still be the champion but lose via disqualification is what he needs to do, that would ruin wrestling in people's eyes, because they're like, what the fuck? We thought we were going to get this huge match between these two, and John's just gone ahead and thrown his toys and just left.
Yep.
I think I'd like that, though. I think that'd be a cool way to carry on the story.
Yeah.
I personally don't think this is the last time we're going to be seeing Randy versus Cena this year.
No.
I don't either. Sorry, you were saying?
I was going to say, I think they're doing this just because they've never faced at Backlash, just to get that ticked off. But there's no way you throw their final like interaction with each other on a B pay-per-view. I just don't see that happening.
No.
I think SummerSlam maybe, or Survivor Series.
Maybe.
Yeah, I could see that.
I've seen people say that you could do kind of similar to what they did in the past, where they like swap the belts a couple of times between each other. Like if you really wanted to elevate this, you could have, because what John Cena is now 17-time champion, Randy's like 14-time, right? Like you could have Randy playing hot potato with the title for a little bit, and then they're finally both at 17, and then that last match that they actually have is for not just for the title, but it's for, you know, who's going to be the new record holder. But I don't know how I would feel about the world title kind of being thrown around like that. So what you could do is you could have like Randy and Cena. You have Randy win, and then someone else inserts himself into like that main event. They win the title off Randy. Randy wins it back. Some other people get involved. That's the only way that I can see it not being just put between John and Randy the whole time. But I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Who would you throw in there? Like if you had to give me a name.
Bron Breakker.
Bron Breakker or LA Knight.
Okay. What about a Punk? CM Punk?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because we're probably going to be rumored to be getting CM Punk in this entire retirement thing. I personally want to see him at Money in the Bank because of that historical factor that it has with the two of them, you know?
Yeah.
Reese, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, 100%.
What about Logan Paul?
I mean, he is humble. He's so damn rich and still humble.
We said on our bingo card for this year that we wanted Cena versus Logan Paul.
I think we see it.
Big Saudi show coming up, guys, as well, too. Keep that in mind.
A Saudi show? Which one?
Well, I think there is rumored to be a Saudi show this year. I
think they're contractually obligated to have a Saudi show every year, so it's got to be at some point.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, you see that happening, even if it's not for that time. You could always see Jay versus Logan, because they're kind of gearing towards that being the next big feud for Jay.
Me personally, I think Logan's winning Money in the Bank, so I think we could probably see him versus Cena. Again, I think I've said this so many times on the podcast, and so many times in the conversation to where like the friggin' words are like ingrained in my brain. Money in the Bank is always best when a chicken shit wins it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't like when you get like a big main event star or a guy like Bron Breakker winning the Money in the Bank. They don't need it. Like a guy like that could easily, believably win the championship on his own merits. When a chicken shit heel wins it, like a Logan Paul, like a Dominic Mysterio, like when the Miz won it back in the day, it works because they could go up against John Cena and probably beat him one-on-one. That's probably not going to happen. But after they've had a match and he's tired, they come out, win. Nuclear heat, everybody wins, you know. So I could see Logan Paul possibly beating Cena for that title at some point this year, or Cody Rhodes beats Cena at the end of his run. Logan Paul comes out and passes in on Cody immediately. The heat would be nuclear. It would be great. So good to see.
He was humble. He's waiting for his right opportunity.
I have a question then. regarding Cena. So our last pay-per-view for the year is going to be Survivor Series, isn't it? November.
Yeah.
So at what point do we actually see Cena losing the title? If
On a random episode of SmackDown. Because
I
everyone's
would-
back.
I would have Cena lose the title maybe before that, because I don't think in any universe we've seen Cena retire as a heel. I don't think that's going to happen.
so, if that's the case, then so SummerSlam is at the beginning of August. If he's
Mhm.
going to lose on a big pay-per-view, it's got to be SummerSlam then, because other than that, there isn't really. But I think they're going to hold him out to be at the Australia show, so that
Yeah, I was going to say, have him lose at the Australia show. That would make the
Yeah.
crowd really fucking happy.
So, is he going to lose at Survivor Series, or is he going to lose on a random episode of Raw or SmackDown?
It's going to be.
I think it's possible.
Well, I mean,
Have you got any thoughts, Larry?
they
Sorry.
made changes with the titles on Raw and SmackDown to the point where it's gone to show they're not afraid to do that anymore. I think they used to hold off big title changes
Yeah.
until the big PLEs, but they've done it with Zelina. They did it with the tag titles on the Raw after WrestleMania. Like, they're not afraid to do title swaps on Raw, NXT, or
And I don't
SmackDown.
think
They
that's
just
good
don't do it
anyway.
as often. Yeah.
Because it makes it less predictable when they do shit like that and don't leave it to pay-per-views. But in the other sense is John Cena said he's taking the belt home anyway, so he might not even lose it.
Yeah, but that might just be a replica. They might just swap it out and give him a replica and then be like, all right, you can take it home, knowing fully well they have the right title back at the company. You can take home a wee little mini belt. That would be cute.
Have you got any ideas for that, Lariat? Because I know like, a lot of people have got speculations of it when he's going to drop the title.
I think I said from like when he started coming back this year that if he was to win the title, I think he has to drop it at SummerSlam. It's like the second biggest show of the year. I think that's how they portray it anyway. And I just think, like Court said, there's no way in this earth that he retires as a heel. I don't know who said that, so I apologise if I haven't predicted the right person.
It's not good.
Yeah, I think SummerSlam. I don't know who to yet. I don't really know who to, because I think, if I'm honest, I don't want it to happen. But I think if it was put back on Cody, I wouldn't be too mad, because I think he could have a storyline with some other superstars a little bit better than Cena could.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Cody guy. I've never have been, and that was cemented with the whole Roman feud. But yeah, I think it'll be SummerSlam. To who, I don't know.
It's like I said on the predictions episode of WrestleMania, like with Cena, like I think we're telling a Star Wars story here, and I think Cody will be the guy to take the title back off him. But I think at the same time, Cody will also be the guy to redeem Cena, to turn him back to the light, to make him a babyface again.
Okay.
Whatever happens after that, like I say, Logan Paul cash in, gold. You've instantly got like a new like storyline there for Cody. But yeah, like it's difficult to call. It's really difficult to call. And the funny thing is, I've not even got to Court or G yet to ask who they think's going to win.
I think I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. Cena wins, lol. Like, I think that's exactly what we're going to see over the next couple of months, is we're just going to see Cena wins, lol. And that's it.
Yeah.
I think
Randy.
I think it's going to end in disqualification. I do think Randy's technically going to win it, but I do think that if we're talking about predictions of who's retaining, I do think it is still going to be John Cena retains.
Yeah. Do you think we get a Roman Reigns match with Cena this year?
I kind of don't want to see it. I don't really want to see it. I feel like we've seen it before, just from a different perspective. We had it at SummerSlam 2021. Didn't we have that?
Yes.
People
like did in Las Vegas.
Like we say, Randy, Punk, AJ Styles, them sort of people go against
LA Knight as well.
Yeah.
I mean, even some people from NXT, you could definitely see challenge him. You could see like Ethan Page go up against him. That would be cool.
That would be cool. What did you say, Larry? Then sorry.
I think Roman never ever touches that belt again. I think if he does, it's just makes it it's weak in my opinion after the last reign he had. So I think if he was to get a title, it's got to be the World Heavyweight Championship belt.
He could.
I'd love him to take it off Jack. I've really, really.
Oh, could you imagine that?
I would
Oh,
quite like a
God.
storyline between them two. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That would be insane.
I could definitely see him winning the Women's Intercontinental Championship as well too.
Oh, 100%. Lyra
Lyra
versus
to the belt.
Roman. I'm down for that.
That could be like an intergender belt. Just change it to that, and then you could have anybody win the title.
The intergender title.
I think he
that'd
goes
be
for
dope.
speed, to be honest.
He goes straight down to Evolve.
Oh, but shout out to before the podcast ends, because I'm pretty sure like we've all just got our predictions down there. I've got Cena as well. Shout out to Evolve for the new men's and women's championships. They look
That
beautiful.
women's one looks so
It looks
good.
It's both of them are gorgeous. I was talking in the Discord a couple of hours ago, and we were saying like they don't really look like any other belt.
I
And
haven't seen
that-
them, so let me pull them up.
oh, they look beautiful. They look
Oh,
absolutely
the-
amazing. Like
the
have a
women's
look
one
at them.
has got like the purple evolve. Oh, it's so beautiful.
Mm.
What the fuck is that? Sorry, the picture's not very big. I can't see it. That's why I said it.
Okay, yeah, it's really nice. If you get like a good little shot of it, it's they are good.
Oh, I can't. If I see one, Court, I'll send it you. I think I saw it on Twitter.
How does it look like the logo from like Jimmy Neutron when it like used to float
literally,
around the
yeah. Like the Big
Hmm.
Bang Theory one.
Yeah, that's the one. It's like DNA or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
it
it's not
looks good.
DNA. DNA is like a ladder.
Atoms. It's an atom.
Yeah, thank you. I'm indifferent about it. I like the white.
Really?
strap
Okay.
on. Yeah.
I like it.
It is really nice. It's going to be determined in 3 and 4 weeks. There's going to be a fatal 4-way elimination women's match. I believe at Battleground Night 1. I think they're doing 2 nights of it, and there's going to be a fatal 4-way men's match on night 2.
I haven't been watching it. I really should.
Oh,
Neither.
you should catch up on it. It's really good. There's some great people on there.
Nikita
Well,
Lyons
yeah,
is now a part of a notification up just before saying that she made a Evolve debut.
Oh right, okay. I'm going to stop watching then. Has anyone got any final thoughts on Backlash?
No, I think I'm all
I
good.
hope it's going to be a less than average card on paper and a really good card in person, like in terms of the matches fought. I'm really hoping it's a situation where they kind of just say, these are the matches we're giving you, but they're actually going to be really good.
Yeah. That's fair. Larry?
I'm looking forward. It's wrestling at the end of the day. I'll watch
Yeah.
it regardless. And that's my kind of like post now and everything. It's we'll all complain, but we all sit there and watch it, and probably watch it again, and then we'll watch it again and again and again. And it's just that's just the way I sit on it now.
The worst part is for the three of us, sorry, Cole, is we all sit at 1 o'clock in the morning and watch it. We just do it.
You do
Yeah,
it for
for
the
real.
love of wrestling. That's what you do it for.
This is the thing as well. Like, not everything predictable is bad.
No.
I'm pretty sure we probably can call pretty much every single one of these matches, but you don't watch it for the result for the most part. You watch it for like, oh, this is going to be a great match. Like Becky and Lyra, predictable. Probably should have had more build. Going to be a great wrestling match though. You know,
Yeah.
like so you know, it's going to be one of those. Randy versus Cena. Not seen that in like 13 years. Can't wait.
And a complete role reversal as well, by the way. That's not been mentioned.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Like that. I think that itself is just going to be like just staring at each other in the ring as the bell rings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be brilliant.
The only thing that could ruin that match is Travis Scott coming out.
Oh, he should be special guest referee.
Or The Rock.
Yeah,
Same with The Rock for me.
he should be. He should be
I don't
special
like The
guest
Rock
enforcer like Tyson was at WrestleMania 14, but better.
No, keep Travis as far away from the wrestling industry as possible, please. I know he's been training with Booker T, but like I don't really care for that.
Travis Scott and Trick Williams as a tag team. Oh yeah, man.
Why don't you just put Carmelo back with him? But that's fine.
But, oh, there you go. It could be a faction. Even better.
No, we're not having this.
And then Booker T can be the manager, and it'd be great.
Oh my
We're
god.
not having this.
They can be
I
called the
think it's time
Fiend.
to end there.
They can be
What
called
was
the
that,
Fiend
G?
or Utopia. They can be called that.
I don't think so. I'm not here for it. Nope.
Really? What gave it away that you're not here for it?
Oh, I don't know. You tell me.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good show.
Right. Before I wrap up, Larry, would like to plug yourself, my brother.
TikTok's the only place you'll be able to find me. It's at Lariat Wrestling. I'd like to say I'm posting daily content, but that's kind of slipped out the window for the last week and a half, 2 weeks. But yeah, Lariat Wrestling on TikTok, and that's it.
To be fair, dude, every single time I load up my TikTok, you are usually there. So your stuff is still getting pushed out there, so don't worry. Well, yeah, guys, it's been a bit of a shorter episode than usual, but thank you for joining us for the Backlash predictions. Make sure you check out Raw and NXT and Evolve, because Evolve was pretty good last night as well. If you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you never miss a video in the future if you've only just found us. You can go follow us at Outcasted OC on TikTok, X, not S. I don't know what S is. X/Twitter and Instagram at Outcasted OC. Go follow us on S. You know, we'll have a channel there soon, wherever that is. Yeah, all of our links will be in the description down below. But for now, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. Take care and peace out.